This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys, heard every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you got car questions, we've got car answers. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923, as long as you're not driving, of course. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we're going to have a lubrication tip of the week. We're, of course, going to be taking your phone calls. Lube is definitely a good thing. And then friction, lubrication, and wear between interacting surfaces. That sounds like oil change talk to me. What do you think, Matt?
It does. Oil change is one of the big topics. We gave you a little tease last week, and I know the phones will blow up today because there's always this thing. How often should I change my oil? What oil is the right oil? I got to have Valvoline. My grandpa says use Valvoline.
Oh, nothing but.
No
yeah.
Pins oil. You don't want to use Pins oil that has wax in it. It's paraffin or something. I don't know, all these stories. So we brought in the expert. We brought in Jason Cronlund. I hope I said that right, from Lab 1 in Phoenix, and they're a lab testing. They do oil tests, lubricant tests, fuel tests. If it's a chemical and it belongs in a car, they test it. And he happened to bring his lovely daughter Ilyana in today, too. She wants to talk so bad on the radio. Maybe we'll turn that button on for her later. But they argue. She's the physicist, and Jason's the...
He's the lubricist.
The lubricist. And they argue what's better, chemistry or physics. So there's a debate in that household. But Jason can take away all the debating, all the water cooler talk that you've heard about oils. Now's the time to call. All those myths that your grandpa or your dad says he used to do, you put a little bit of this in there and don't do that or do this. We can talk all about all of that. 602-257. I don't even know the phone number.
602-277. I'm better.
KTAR. Man, I spaced out the phone number for the first time. So, Jason, really. I don't know. Where do we start with this stuff, Dave? I mean, oil. What do you do? I mean, 5,000 miles, 10,000 miles, 15,000 miles. Grandpa says do it every 3. There's still some owner's manuals that say 3,000 miles, right? I mean,
I want to know what you do in your truck, Jason. Let's just start off right there.
Well, I've got
he's a little different.
I've got access to this oil testing company that actually can take a look at how my oil chemistry is doing. So I go about 15,000 miles on my oil, but I've got a diesel as well. So. Good morning, guys, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's always good to have you here. I learn so much stuff every time you come on, even before the show, talking about the dynamic wedge that happens in the differential of a car. I had no idea there was such a thing called dynamic wedge. Mind-popping.
Yeah, my head was about to blow. I couldn't keep up. I was taking notes, but I couldn't spell most of the words. So.
Well, and you talk about lubrication. Lubrication is your wheel bearing grease. Lubrication is your engine oil. Lubrication is your power steering fluid. Lubrication is differential oil. Lubrication is your transmission fluid. There's so many lubricants in your vehicle. And one thing we do at Tri-City Transmission, we use, Jason, when we have a transmission with a weird symptom or things aren't adding up, we actually take a sample of fluid. We send it to his lab, and they test it for particulate counts, the additive package, the viscosity of the oil. These are all big terms, but if you're not a oil person, and I talk to the oil guy when I need oil information.
Well, let's go back to what Jason does in his truck, though, but he's quite unique. He's got a diesel truck. He doesn't go to buy the cheapest oil change. Probably buys a pretty good oil. What brand of oil do you use, Jason?
I run Valvoline.
Valvoline, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
His grandpa told him.
Yeah, his grandpa told him. So, Valvoline oil, good oil. Mm-hmm. But you also don't have a very long trip to work. It's only about 3 miles, but you take like a 8-mile route, I think you've told us in the past, right?
Yeah, I alter the route so I can get my oil temperatures up, make sure I cook out any of the contaminants that might be forming. One of the biggest things that happens to our oils now is everyone does short commutes, and it doesn't take care of the water that's generated during the process, and we need to get the oil hot enough to get it cooked off.
So people are going, well, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Water in my oil. So the normal combustion process of an engine produces condensation.
Correct.
And that's where the water comes from. That gets in the oil.
Right.
So
right.
if you drive the car 3-4 miles, that's not hot enough. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah, you need to get the oil up to around 200 degrees or more, and then keep it there, and that water will vaporize off and come out through the breathers and what have you. And if that doesn't, it's just going to keep accumulating, and eventually water is not a good lubricant, and you'll lose a bearing or you'll have wear.
But what does the water do? Does it help promote acidic, the oil turning acidic?
Yeah, it can. It's one of the parts of a acid forming process. Another part is when the fuel combusts, it produces carbon dioxide, and that mixes with water and it forms carboxylic acids and what have you, and it will make the oil acidic, drop the pH, and it'll start causing wear.
Where's no bueno?
Now, the other thing he says is he happens to ownership at a oil testing facility, so he can run it 15,000 miles, but I'm sure he's tested it every so often to make sure it's good and it's not getting run too long and that type of thing. Yeah. But you were saying before the show, it's, oil is one thing. You want a good oil in your car, and you don't want the, store brand generic whatever oil in your car. In good oil, okay, we got that, but the biggest problem you said is really the contaminants in the oil are what do the damage and the wear in the car, and so that's a thing.
Right, yeah. And no matter how much you spend on the oil, it doesn't take care of contamination control. And here in the desert, we have a major issue with dirt entry. We also have issue with fuel dilution, water, like we just talked about, coolant entry. And you can buy a $5 a quart conventional oil or $20 a quart full synthetic. It's going to do the same darn thing with contaminants. And so we need to make sure we keep all those contaminants in control. And how do you do that? Filtration.
And people might go, wait a minute, what's my air filter got to do with my oil getting dirty? Well, that's where a good amount of the contaminants are getting into the oil. Is that correct, Jason?
That is correct. That's where your silicon's getting into the oil.
So you do an oil test, and if it has high silicone, you might be going back to the shop. We're talking, a lot of your stuff is over-the-road trucks and some cars. But to give some perspective to everybody listening, silicone's in that oil, and right off the bat, we've either got maybe we had some recent repairs done, and we use silicone to seal a gasket. But then the other part of the silicone that we're seeing is it's in our dirt, right? Is that correct?
Right, and we look at the report holistically. We look at to see if there was maintenance done. If we see silicon in the oil report and that's the only thing we see, we're going to say, okay, you've got RTV or gasket material leaching. If we see aluminum, which is a constituent in our dirt, then you've got dirt entry. And so when we look at an oil report, for every 1 part aluminum, you have 7 parts silicon. So if we see that aluminum trend in the same ratio with the silicon, okay, you've got dirt entry coming in most likely through the upper cylinder region, which would be air filter or intake boots or anything in the intake region. Check that, make sure it's taken care of, because one entry will lessen the engine life by about 20%.
Wow.
It was interesting.
It makes my head spin.
I know, right? We're talking about the quality of the engine oil filter, because I know I see coupons for like a $14 oil change, and I got to get 6 quarts of oil. I got to pay a technician to do it, and I'm going to do it for $14. Well, that means I'm as a shop, I may be buying an 89-cent oil filter. Well, Jason, you made the point before the show. We take a brand XYB in a Wix brand, and we hold one in each hand, and one is definitely heavier, and one costs $5 and one costs 99 cents. And you're talking about contamination, and it's just heavier because there's more surface area, there's more pleats in there, and it's doing a better job of filtering. When you go a long time without changing your engine oil, what ends up happening is the filter will plug up, especially if it's a cheap one. And then in order to protect the engine, there's a bypass. Valve that opens up, and it bypasses the filter to keep it lubricating as best it can, but it's no longer cleaning the oil. So a good filter is a must-have when it comes down to an oil change.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't spend too much on a filter, because when you balance that cost with the cost of an engine, an oil filter is cheap. And
then here's another thing that a lot of people, we're probably guilty of it too in our shops to some degree, is over-checking filters. And we talk about you've heard us talk about finding a home for your repair shop, for your car. You want to come to one place. If you're the person that goes here and you go there and you got an oil change here yesterday, and then the next oil change you get at the other place, and then the other one, they're checking your air filter every single time. That's our job. That's what the oil change center or the mechanic does, or the shop. We need to check your car over. We want to make sure those filters are good. but that can be a detriment too. If your air filter's been in the car for 7 or 8 months, yeah, it's going to have some contaminants. It's doing its job. It's supposed to. It's not going to be a shock to see some bird feathers and some sand in that filter. But the problem is, we check it and you take a look at it. You don't need it, and maybe the kid at the oil change shop doesn't know any better, so he knocks it on the ground. Well, that's no good. You see all this dirt fall out. You say, yeah, my husband can do that. He just knocks all the dirt out of it, and we'll get another 5,000 miles out of it. That's bad news. So the point I want to make there is if you're at the same shop, we're going to make notes in our system. We checked the air filter last time. We know it's good. Don't disturb it. That's worse than leaving it alone, I think. I
really feel like unless you're out driving on the trails all the time, you can almost, if air filter can be a year.
Once a year.
Once a year. You're plenty fine with that. Cabin filter's probably a twice a year thing. That's the one inside the car. But taking that air box apart, like you said, Jason, if they open it, you might as well replace it.
Yeah.
Really for the cost of an air filter and the cost that he's talking about taking years off the life of your engine, by not taking care of it. So when we come back, we're taking your phone calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. If you got an oil change question or you want to talk about wheel bearing grease or what I like to talk about is polonium carbide. It's a special impregnated metal that does amazing things. We can talk about all of that, 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
Honesty and integrity. It's the only option. Hi, Spencer Doucet for H&I Automotive. H is for honesty and I is for integrity. We built our business on these two principles. We opened our first shop in Mesa in 2009, and with the support from our loyal customers, we've now grown to a second state-of-the-art location in Gilbert. 2 locations, same principles. Quality service at a great value, backed by an industry-leading 60-month, 60,000-mile parts and labor warranty. Check us out at HandIautomotive.com.
There is nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock here for Kurt's Auto Repair. I brought my nephew and general manager, Jeff Rock, to help spread the word.
Thanks, Pops. Yep, the more things change, the more they stay the same at Kurt's. Family owned and operated, our ASE Master Techs and family ethics have earned us a perfect Better Business Bureau record for over 30 years. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue in Bell or online at mycarhurts.com.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic, if your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen. And then we've got Jason Cronlin, the guy that knows more about lubricants in his left pinky than I do in my whole body and brain and all that stuff. So if you guys have questions about lubrication, and we've got phone lines lighting up at 602-277-5827. We can talk about any of that stuff. It doesn't have to be about lubrication. It can be about windows, it could be about tires, it can be about windshield wiper blades, it can be about noisy passengers,
whatever it is you want it to be about, because that's why you listen. The show's for you guys. We come here every week. Dave and I have something we want to yap about, something that is an interesting topic or something related that's relevant or important to you. Once in a while we get on our soapbox and something irks us, but the show's for you. So you have a question, it's whatever it is you want to talk about. You guide the ship.
For sure. And we got Ellen, Leroy, Robert, and Kurt, and another one coming through. But the one thing I wanted to listen, I know that people, consumers of auto repair, are out there listening, but I also know there's a lot of auto shops out there listening. And I think for you guys, I want to speak to you for a second. This is a great tool that we have here in the Valley called Lab 1, where Jason's at. And we can actually give our customers real, concrete information based on science by testing. You know, we got something that's questionable, or we want to see a trend in their motor. You know, start to test our customers' oil for the customers who care and want to know and want to take care of their vehicle. It's a great tool that we have. So that's for Lab 1. They're right here in town. And, you know, I buy a bunch of their pre-sample kits. He gave me all the stuff to pull oil samples, and I just, you know, they gets picked up, and by the next day I got an answer on how the oil looks.
You know, another great person that probably should be using Jason is the small fleet. You got a landscape company and you have a mechanic, and maybe you got 10 or 15 trucks, and you have your own shop that takes care of your cars, your trucks. You should be having those oil samples done, because you can control your maintenance costs that way.
Definitely control the maintenance costs.
What Jason say, knowledge, right? You were talking earlier. Yeah. With the knowledge is power. And if you ask questions and gather data, you make very good decisions.
All right. Well, we're going to go with Ellen in Mesa. She's got a 2004 Chrysler Crossfire. How can we help you, Ellen? You are on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Actually, Ellen had to step away for a second, so she handed me the phone. This is Arthur.
Hey, Arthur.
All right. We've got a 2004 Crossfire that we picked up at an auction. And I drove it around for a couple days just trying to get all the sensors to latch so I could get it smogged and everything after changing the battery. And then all of a sudden, it stopped recognizing the key. And I'm trying to figure out what I got to do to get the key to recognize again.
Crossfire is kind of like that Mercedes / Chrysler.
Yeah, they're very close cousins. Well, you're going to need a shop probably that has the proper software, the Chrysler YPod or the diagnostic tool. If you know, it depends. Is the antenna in the car not recognizing the key, or is the key failing to send out the signal to the car? And I'm not 100% familiar with that exact model. You probably can only get the key from the dealer. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to go to the dealer. Your independent repair shop will acquire the key if that's what you
through a Chrysler distributor.
Yes, through a Chrysler distributor, an authorized agency. and it probably has to be ordered by the VIN number. And then it depends on whether that key has to be programmed to be married to the car or not. I know in some cases I had to replace a key on a BMW. You just call, you order it, or you go through the process, I should say. There's no calling to order a key anymore. You got to give them your driver's license and your birth certificate and your passport and all the information to get it. And then sometimes you order it by VIN, you take it out of your pocket, you stick it in the car, and it works. And other ones have to be mated, or the key fob is part of it. So it could be a little bit of a chore for you.
Yeah, and I'm not really familiar with that specific system on that car for sure, but.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to go with Robert in Phoenix. He's got a 1985 Mercury Grand Marquis. How can we help you, Robert? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing today?
Fantastic.
Good. Hey, last year the heater core went out on my Grand Marquis. Picked it up at Napa for $30, but apparently to put it in, you have to take the entire dash out. And it's extremely expensive to do. I've got a really, really good mechanic who takes really good care of my car, but he said it's going to be like over $1,100 just in labor. Do you think is that accurate? And he also said that due to the age of the car, the dash might crack, and I was glad he was honest with me about that. But what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think, you know, when you start to get in these older vehicles, that's always a possibility when you're taking something like that. The thing's been baking in the sun. If it's been in Arizona for any length of time, that stuff becomes brittle. And so what he's doing, he's just saying, hey, it's a possibility. When we take this thing apart, some stuff's going to break, and I'm not going to be responsible for it. So he's not being honest. He's just being upfront. I'm not paying for this if it breaks.
That's called alignment of expectations.
Yes, expectation control. But yeah, it's not, you know, some technicians love pulling dashboards out of cars. I haven't found too many. You got to be a little bit of a contortionist. Sometimes you got to have your, you know, feet up above the top of the seat and your head under, you know, unbolting stuff to get the thing out of the, you know. But we just did one here a couple weeks ago in our shop, and never let the customer come by when the dashboard's out of the car.
I have people go, can you send some, you guys have these great inspection programs, send some pictures out of the process. I'm like, are you kidding me? If people saw this thousands of pieces, all this car, you're going to be married to every rattle and noise that car ever makes.
Yeah, for sure. But it doesn't sound, out of the ordinary for that kind of money. Some cars have easy access where you can get right to the heater core, and some don't. We did a vehicle here recently. I want to say it was a Ford Explorer, an older one.
It fell right out.
It wasn't a big deal to do it, The other way, if you don't care how the dash looks, get a Sawzall out and you just saw right through the dash and get right to it.
Well, and one other word of caution. Now, I don't care what part we're talking about, whether it's the heater core or what it is, $1,100 in labor. You can buy a cheap heater core.
Yep.
You can get the discount heater core. Maybe it's $50, or maybe you get the Motorcraft or the Visteon or whoever makes that Ford one, and it's much better. But and you go, wait a minute, I don't want to pay $90 for a heater core. I can get the $30 one. Whoa, no, bad mistake.
Yeah. The $1,100 to get there, and you want to put the cheap one in there.
Yeah. So be cautious with that. The other thing you want to remember too, whenever you're doing a heater core or something like that, you want to flush out the cooling system. Now's a good time to take a holistic look. You're talking about the radiator. We're heading into summertime. A couple hoses go to that heater core, so you want to replace some heater hoses, flush out the rest of the system, put a thermostat in it, and then be done with it.
That's something you guys test coolant at your lab as well, don't you?
Yeah. We can test coolant, fuel, oil, you name it. If it's in a car, we test it. So.
And the thing about coolants is, and the reason you service your coolant in your car is at some point the coolant becomes acidic. It starts eating away at things, and that's the thing I worry about. People pick up a Sun City car. Oh man, this car is great, man. It's only got 40,000 miles on it. It's like 15, 20 years old or whatever it is. Because they don't go very far. Half the time they take their golf cart, or 90% of the time. And so they buy this car, and the first thing they do is they go, it's pretty fresh. They go drive it hard, and that cooling system is pretty much rotten. In a lot of cases. So if you buy a car like that, you got to know that coolant is taking its toll.
And the other important thing to think about is making sure when you're doing a cooling system service, we're using good, clean water. This Arizona water is so bad with all the contaminants and dissolved solids and stuff in it. It's not good for a cooling system. You have to use purified water. So
when we come back, we've got Kurt, Leroy, Frank, and Jeff. You listen to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
I've loved my 07 Chevy Avalanche. With low miles and good maintenance, it looked brand new. Unfortunately, my baby was struck recently and suffered some damage. I was devastated. I was not looking forward to the hassle of dealing with the body shop and the insurance company. Thankfully, a friend shared an amazing experience he had with Campus Auto Body Salon and their owner, Leo Petrozzella. So I went online and checked them out for myself. Been in business since 1973, incredible 5-star customer reviews, not only on their site, but with all the independent review services as well. So I made an appointment. After meeting Leo, my tension evaporated. He quickly gave me a reasonable estimate, then took care of everything from communicating with the insurance company to handling the rental car. Best part, several days later, I had my Avalanche back and it literally looked and drove like brand new. The process was seamless. I'm Mike, a real customer and a raving fan. Make your first call the right call to Campus Auto Body Salon.
Trust. They say it takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. It doesn't come easy, and you have to earn it every day to stay in business, right? Hi, Dave Riccio from Tri-City Transmission and co-host of Bumper to Bumper Radio. As Arizona's oldest and most trusted transmission shop, we're determined to keep building on a reputation that we've worked hard to earn by doing the right thing every time for our customers. Yes, honesty is our policy, but we go a step further and back it up with experience and the expertise to be able to give you comfort to know that if you are going to have to spend money on a transmission, that A, you actually need it, and B, that it's done by the most qualified experts at a fair price. I guarantee it. Tri-City Transmission, handcrafted since 1972. Go where friends trust to send their friends. Check us out online at tricitytransmission.com. That's tricitytransmission.com. tricitytransmission.com.
Arizona's news station.
KTAR. On air, 92.3 FM. Online at KTAR.com. And streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic. Now.
KTAR News Time. It's 11:30. I'm Amy Pohl. New information on a woman and her 3 children who were in a hit-and-run last night. Phoenix police say they were crossing the street near 67th Ave Indian School when a 4-door sedan hit them, dragging the 2-year-old who was stuck under the vehicle 1,000 feet. Witnesses were able to stop the driver and remove the girl, but that's when the driver fled the scene. All 4 were transported to the hospital in serious condition. If you have any information, you're encouraged to call police. Remember, you can remain anonymous. Arizona Senator Martha McSally delivered a keynote speech on sexual assault and harassment at the U.S. Naval Academy. She says change starts within the community. It starts at home.
How we inculcate our young people in that, it's parenting, it's faith leaders, it's coaches, it's civil society, it's all that, and it goes in the classroom. All that stuff.
Last month, McSally opened up about her own experience when she was in the Air Force. She says a superior officer raped her. And now for a check on traffic. Here's Mike Daniels live in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
That closure continues, Amy. Loop 101 eastbound closed at Tatum Boulevard. The traffic is being detoured off the eastbound 101 right there at State Route 51 for a rollover crash. Traffic is backed up to 7th Street. You might want to consider using Bell Road as an alternate. Got a wreck on Chandler Boulevard and Desert Foothills Parkway and a crash on Cave Creek and Mountain View Road. This traffic report brought to you by Smokey's Garage Door. Is your garage door squeaking, rattling, or just not working? The pros at Smokey's Garage Door will get you back on track fast. Free estimates and same-day service available. Just click SmokeysGarageDoor.com. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
KTAR weather for the Valley. Today's forecast, it's 72 degrees in Phoenix. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. I'm Amy Pohl on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Mac and Gatos get deserving Valley teachers paid when you help KTAR News pay tribute to a teacher. Text teacher to 411-923 and nominate an outstanding teacher who you know raises the bar for education in Arizona. Mac and Gatos will pick one of the teachers that you nominate each month for a $1,000 payday. Help a fantastic teacher get $1,000 when Mac and Gatos pay tribute to a teacher. Text teacher to 411-923 now.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Hi, Kevin Rowe from I-17 Collision in Phoenix. If the bad news is you've had an accident, the good news is that with one easy click on bumpertobumperradio.com, you have the best collision, body, and paint shops to help you get back on the road quickly, safely, and with a repair you can trust.
Dave Lindgren here from First Class Auto Body in Scottsdale. Don't be fooled. Some insurance companies try to convince you that you must use their approved shops for your repairs. Not true. Arizona law allows you to choose the facility that's right for you.
And I'm Leo Petrozello from Campus Body Salon in Tempe. Having an accident is stressful enough. Dealing with the repair process shouldn't be. Appearance is important, but it's critical that structural integrity and safety are top priority.
3 convenient locations and one united team. With almost 120 years of experience and expertise between us, we are solely focused on taking care of you while working with your insurance company. The Collision Team at bumpertobumperradio.com.
It's back. The 8th annual Bunker to Bunker Memorial Day Play and Stay Golf Tournament benefiting Phoenix Children's Hospital is Saturday, May 25th at the historic Wigwam Resort. The famous 2-person scramble on the award-winning gold course is loaded with special prizes, awards, lunch, and even includes a coupon for a second round of golf, all for just $90. Better yet, make it a staycation with room night special starting at just $139 per night. Come make your Memorial Day weekend memorable. Space is limited. Register today at bunkergolf.com.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
All righty, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen, along with Dave Riccio, and every single Saturday at 11, we're standing in here in front of these microphones helping you with your car. That's what Bumper Radio is all about. It's a little bit more than just this show. I mean, that's part of the deal for Dave and I to come in here and bring these great guests like Jason from Lab 1, who helps us decipher all the technology and science behind motor oil and lubrication and transmission fluids and all these things that are important to make your car run well. But besides Bumper to Bumper Radio, which is on the air at 11, there's a website. And there's a community behind Bumper to Bumper Radio. Dave, what is that community all about? What do we do? I mean, it's not just us showing up here and yapping for an hour.
There's shops over the valley. We do this show and people say, hey, I need a good place to take my car. Well, we put together the website, bumpertobumperradio.com, and there's a list of great shops in town where you can go, and Matt and I, carte blanche, would refer you to. Go over there. They'll take care of you. A couple of shops I want to give a shout-out to is Glenn and Rayanne, Goodworks Auto Repair. They're in Tempe, right off Broadway and the 101. If you work in Tempe, if you live in Tempe, or if you just need a good shop and you want to drive to Tempe, great auto repair shop. We also got Kurt's Auto Repair, basically 20th Avenue and Belt Road, and that's just another family-owned operation with great guys working there. And again, I mean, you can just literally lay your keys on the counter and say, hey, I just want you to take care of my car. Because, we want to keep you in the know about your car here, and I think you should be in the know. Don't be just completely blind going in for auto repair. But it will help you to understand and relieve some of the anxiety working with one of these great shops and having a relationship. And if you've already got a great shop, you stay with them. It's hard to find a good relationship, someone you trust, but if you're an orphan customer, absolutely, bumpertobumperradio.com, find a great shop.
The other great thing about all these shops, Dave, is that if you need something, call the shop, call one of them. If you don't have a normal home, they'll answer a question for you. Or maybe you're looking for a guy to tint the windows in your neighborhood, and H&I Automotive is around the corner. Call them up. Hey, H&I. I need to get my windows tinted. They'll help you with other stuff. I mean, we field those phone calls all the time at my shop. Hey, I need who do you guys recommend for a windshield? Okay, we've got a place. So you don't just have to have a broken car to have these people. It might be a good idea to get to know them before your car breaks.
I use these shops. I want to get my niece sent up to H&I to get it detailed. He's got a great detailing shop there. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's just some of the great things you'll find at Bumper to Bumper Radio. Let's get to the phones. We're going to go with Kurt in Scottsdale. He's got a 1973 Chevrolet Corvette. How can we help you, Kurt? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, guys. A couple of questions. I actually have a 73 Corvette and the 69 442, and I want to know what I should be running, what kind of oil I should be running. I've heard straight 30 weight. Or something with a high zinc content I should probably be running. And then brands of oil filters. What's a good oil filter?
Jason, I think this is right up your alley. I'm going to take the oil filter answer real quick. Okay. And I'm going to say a Wix. A Wix is a very good, popular brand. You're going to see them at a lot of stores. And you want the premium Wix filter, and then Jason, have at it on the oil. You might even have to ask him some questions. I don't know.
No, it's congratulations for having those nice cars, Kurt. But the ZDDP, or the zinc additive, is definitely necessary for your cars, so that you can have a good lubrication on the cam and the lifter. When you have flat tappet cams, you definitely need the zinc because that gives you that boundary lubrication. I have a 56 Chevy. I run diesel engine oil on mine. As far as a 30 weight, 40 weight, it's whatever you're comfortable with. It's a matter of what you've been running and just sticking with it. If you choose a brand, I always recommend sticking with it. But definitely with a flat tappet cam, you definitely want to have a zinc content for sure.
Zinc. So is there an additive, natural additive?
There are,
or a brand of oil that's already has it in there, and should I just be running a straight 30 weight instead of a multi-weight?
The multi-weight or straight weight doesn't really matter because we never get cold enough here for a multi-weight to be really a factor. But I recommend a diesel engine oil. It has the zinc content or anti-wear additive or ZDDP additive that will give you enough lubrication to give your cam the proper lubrication.
What about? I've seen these high mileage oils. Does that have it in it?
It has it to the extent, but not as much as a diesel engine oil, Kurt. A high mileage oil has more detergency.
Hey, thanks so much for the call, Kurt. That's some of the stuff that comes up. There used to be, the real modern car, you pretty much, whatever the book calls for, that's what you put in it. But as a car gets older, things have changed. We used to build cars. We had leaded gasoline. That's not even a thing anymore.
And you talk about some of these older cars, the oil technology has evolved and left that car behind, so to speak, because you don't want to use in one of those older cars, maybe this brand new oil made for a modern car. It's not good for it.
Right,
Jason?
Right. It doesn't have the additive package to give you that lubrication, and especially in the cam and lifter area. Yeah. You definitely need something that has the zinc content. The emission controls that are in these new vehicles weren't in those old vehicles.
Right.
Zinc is bad in new vehicles, but in old vehicles, we need it.
Right. And what I use in my old air-cooled Porsche is a Valvoline. They call it a racing oil, but it's got, and I think that's where it gets the racing from, because there's no racing happening with it. but it's just got that high zinc content, and that will help protect the engine. But it can do a number on emissions control devices.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you don't want that in your new car.
Correct.
For sure. Thanks for the call, 602-277-5827. Let's go with Jeff in Apache Junction. Looks like he has a 2007 Chevrolet Silverado. How can we help you, Jeff? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thanks for taking my questions, guys.
You bet.
It's really not about my truck that you were talking about oil changes and oil-related items. I'm just curious, what's the shelf life of oil? I was cleaning out my dad's house. He passed away, and he has some Castrol GTX 10W30 oil up on the shelves there, and it's probably about 5, maybe 7 years old. I was wondering if it's good for me to use that still.
Yeah, it should be fine, Jeff. You definitely make sure you mix it before you use it.
Shake it up a little bit.
Shake the heck out of it, and make sure it's well mixed. The old, back in the day, there was a distinct shelf life on oil because the additives technology was so much different. The additives would actually fall out of the oil. And the oil manufacturers used to use different types of dispersants just to try to keep the shelf life there in the oil. Newer technology, even with a 5 to 6 year old oil, should suffice, but I definitely recommend make sure it meets the API rating for your vehicle that you're going to be using.
So, Jason, what you're saying is if I find that cardboard can of oil with aluminum top where you need the church key, that's probably no good to use anymore?
No. It might work on your cooking your chicken.
My favorite scene of all movies is the movie The Jerk, where he's working at the gas station and someone's trying to shoot him, and the oil cans just keep shooting out. And he goes, these cans are defective. That's what I think about when you talk about that kind of oil can. Great movie. So anyway, let's go with Leroy in Apache Junction on a 2015 Chevy Spark. How can we help you, Leroy? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hello. I was wondering whether you'd ever get to me.
You are very patient. Thank you, Leroy.
Hey, incidentally, is Mark still with Tri-City? I know Leon was, and he retired, because he showed me in the new station from the river bottom.
Oh, yeah. Mike and Leon anymore, they come around and they come around and kick the tires. And if we got an old car, hey, Mike, we got a really old car and none of us were born. Can you come help us fix the transmission? So there's a lot of that goes on for sure.
Well, Tri-City Transmission, that's a staple in the area. I mean, you get the old timer here like Leroy, and man, he goes back and he must have been around a while because Mike and Leon were there, 40 years? 30?
1972, so I think it's like 46, 47 years, something like that. And we just had an anniversary, March 20th. Another year.
Wow, and you didn't even celebrate. You're like, oh gosh, I'm getting old.
Well, in Mike Jr., he still works. He works on occasion. When we get overloaded, he'll come in. And he always stops by every year on the birthday of the business. He stops by and, oh, yeah, man, it's our anniversary. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. You just get busy with life. So anyway, thanks for the call. Let's go with Chris in Scottsdale on a 2015 Mercedes GL. How can we help you, Chris? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, hi, guys. Great show. I've got a GL 350 Mercedes with a diesel. Been into Lab 1 on 4 occasions for the oil analyses. A little concerned about the iron content. I'm looking at my lab results here. It had the Mercedes serviced with the synthetic oil, about 6,000-7,000 miles, which is a little more frequent than the manufacturer's recommendation. But my first oil or iron concentration was around 155. Then the next three dropped down to around 80 to 100. Any cause for concern there?
Well, first off, thank you for choosing our services, Chris. I would definitely look at the trend and see what's going on with that sample. The 155, was that the break-in sample?
Actually, I got the vehicle. No is a short answer. That was at 30,000 miles. It was the first oil change after I got the vehicle.
Okay.
Almost exclusively long-distance highway miles for the vehicle. It dropped from 155, 86, 94, and 102 on this last go-around. The comments on the lab report were iron seems a little high, watch the trend. Seems to have settled in around that 100 mark. I can't really find a lot online for comparison for this engine. Just curious if it stands out to you or means anything in particular.
Well, typically you want to see the iron less than 75 in most diesel applications. You want to look for stability in your oil analysis. And so if you have an 86, 94, or 102, base it also on the mileage. Was there a change in mileage on all three samples? If it's all about the same, what you want to look at on your oil analysis is a trend. And you want to have, if you were to plot it on a graph, a flat line. Now, the nature of your engine, it may produce a little iron. Every engine wears a little bit differently depending on application and environment. And so we want to see what the trend is doing. And now if we keep seeing this iron go up, there's a point of concern. We may have some gear wear. We may have an oil pump giving you issues. So we need to keep an eye on it. Routine oil analysis will help you in diagnosing what could be happening. And that's what we're here to do, is give you preventive maintenance and proactive maintenance.
So, Jason, on a case like that moving forward for him, he should probably really, if he wants to graph that out himself and see if there's a correlation, is he exactly on the mileage. So, I mean, if you went a little higher on the mileage this interval, you might see a slight increase in iron, and that would be expected if those two lines seem to trend together, the mileage and the
exactly.
But as long as it continues flat,
yeah, you want to make sure anything that you trend, you want to have a flat line. Now, there's a few caveats to that. If you add a lot of makeup oil, obviously you're diluting that oil, so that's going to factor into it as well. But
sure.
We want to watch what the trend is doing for sure on any of the oil analysis.
For sure. When we come back, we've got Lori, we've got Frank, and we've got Sharon. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
After a car accident, make your first call the right call to Campus Auto Body Salon. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved, 5-star rated with Yelp, CarWise.com, and A+ rated by the BBB. The best care in collision repair since 1973. Check us out at campusbodysalon.com.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
That's our closing line, Pops.
I know, Jeff. Just reinforcing that we're full-service auto repair.
At Kurt's Auto Repair, we do it all, including diesel. We have the passion, training, equipment, and expertise for diesel. Our techs are ASE certified for diesel and advanced diesel diagnostics. Toy hauling, horse trailering, off-roading, or work trucking, we've got you covered.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's. Check us out at mycarhurts.com.
You love golf? Hey, we love golf. Want to stay informed and have a little fun? Just tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 for the Bunker to Bunker Golf Show, the Valley's #1 golf show. I'm Greg Ellis. And I'm Jim Hill. And along with Marty Monahan, we talk to tour players and insiders from around the golf world. So round out the foursome, your weekly tee time, 7 a.m. Saturdays on 98.7 FM, Arizona Sports Station, or catch up with us anytime at bunkergolf.com. Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price.
I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at accurateautomotiveaz.com today.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. We've got Lori, we've got Sharon, and we got Frank, and a couple texts here that we want to talk about. One says, what is a good radiator fluid for the car? And I'm just going to answer that one quickly. Whatever it came with. That's the right fluid for the radiator fluid for the car. So
I had one salesman come in from the oil place. Hey, we've got this universal coolant, fits all cars. No, it doesn't. Take it out of here. Goodbye. Don't want to buy it.
Yeah, but then they got to tell you, no, really, it is. It is. No, it doesn't. Yeah. They want to argue with you.
Chameleon.
Okay.
That's what we call chameleon. No.
For sure. Well, let's go ahead and get to the phones. We're going to go with Lori in Gilbert. She has a 2001 Dodge pickup, and it is a diesel.
Hello.
Hey, Lori.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I have a couple questions. I know it's really generic, but it's really important to me at this point. This is my husband's truck, and he unfortunately passed away in October, and I decided that I'm going to keep driving this, and I'm at a point right now, I'm not sure if it even needs an oil change and how to go about deciding or where to go and what needs to be done to keep this thing going and running smooth.
Well, I think I would start off, Lori, but you need to find a regular repair shop. If you don't have one, that's where you need to start. A couple things that you said. You're out in Gilbert. You said diesel. H&I Automotive is out there. They might be a good resource for you. I'm not sure about their diesel prowess. I would say ADS for sure, a little bit further drive, closer to I-10 and Chandler. Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. They're a Bosch service center, and they can definitely take care of your diesel for sure. But I think what
I would comprehensive vehicle inspection and just get a good picture of the vehicle and tell them where you're at. Tell them what you just told us. They're really good guys over there, and they can kind of see where you're coming from and kind of give you a little bit of a prognosis and prescription for how to take care of this car and make it work for you.
Really what we want to do, though, is we want to establish a baseline. We need to find out what we don't know. Mm-hmm. And that is, how many miles on the car, and maybe something like that. They would pull. I guess, Jason, we would want to pull an oil sample of the old oil,
right,
and then probably go ahead and service it again. That's starting to establish the baseline and they're gonna, you're gonna spend $100 probably on doing this type of inspection. But that's the kind of inspection you want to do. You don't want to go somewhere where people are incentivized to find something so that they can get paid for looking at your car. You want to pay them to look at your car, and you just tell them, like Dave said, tell me what you told us, and you need to know everything about the car, and then let's come up with a plan to keep it a long time.
I think sometimes, ladies where their husbands have been taking care of something, I mean, it's intimidating to go to an auto shop.
Absolutely.
And some gals will come in and say, well, I'm a woman, so I'm going to get taken advantage of. No. And that's not the case if you're working with a good shop. That's like, that could be my wife, that could be my daughter, that, could be my mom. That's somebody's mom, somebody's daughter, somebody's wife, So it's super important. You want to make sure, these are all good shops that we're recommending to you on Bumper to Bumper Radio for sure. So good luck with that, Lori. And we're going to go with Sharon in Mesa. She's got a 2003 Chevrolet Silverado. How can we help you, Sharon? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, guys. Hey, listen, when I was a lot younger, my dad worked in Indianapolis and DA Lubricant, and they did the oil thing. So for your oil man, how do I contact him, and do they send me an oil sample bottle so I can start? My truck has got 300,000 miles on it. It runs great. Don't get me wrong. It's a work truck. And it's now on full synthetic. It used to be on the other kind of oil, and then to the semi-synthetic, and now it's on full synthetic. But I would really, really, really like to get the oil analyzed. And I had heard you guys a long time ago with this gentleman, and now I know it's Lab 1. So
yep, I'll tell you, everybody get your pencils ready because Jason's going to have an opportunity here in a second. So everybody, 3, 2, 1. Jason, why don't you give us the quick plug for Lab 1? Where do we find you? What's the name? What's the website? What's the phone number? The whole deal.
Well, we're located in downtown Phoenix. The website is lab1inc.com. That's LABONEINC.com. There's actually an online store where you can purchase the kits. Phone number is 480-839-5221. You're more than welcome to come on by. We've got a great group of people down there. Shout out to all of them. And we'd be happy to help you out, Sharon.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll put it up on the Bumper to Bumper website or on our Facebook page also. We'll get around to it at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, and if you're out there listening, why don't you mosey on over to Facebook? Dave and I, we need some friends.
Yeah, getting lonely in the valley, for sure. Well, let's sneak in Frank. Frank, you got to be quick on your 2012 Chevrolet Malibu. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Just real quick, I'm getting the ESC light coming on whenever it doesn't happen all the time, but it comes on sporadically and it'll stay on and then turn off. And as far as I can tell, the car's not running any different. So I don't know that there is an actual issue or if it's an electrical problem or I don't know.
Did you say ESC or VSC?
ESC.
It's the traction control. I would suspect maybe you get an ABS light that comes on at the same time? An orange light?
No, I never had that.
No? Okay.
ESC.
Well, ESC is just part of the driver stability control and the traction control. So that may set a code in one of the computers, a body control module or a PCM. It may not. You probably can't get into that with your generic scan tool, the $99 version. They just don't read. All scan tools are not created equally.
Oh, no.
And, to some degree, you need to worry about it. It's intermittent. Sometimes intermittent problems can be tough to chase down, and if it's not causing concern, you're not having any issues, it might be one of those deals. You just wait till it gets a little more frequent, possibly. Dave, any thoughts on that?
Well, what's nice about the modern car and the computer, if they do in fact turn on a light or there's an error code set for the intermittent problems, it sure helps us. Half the cars we diagnose, there is no code. People say, oh, what's the code? You plug in, it just tells you. But it is nice when the check engine light goes on, even though it goes off, there's still a message set in the computer, so someone can still, start to track that down. But it is a safety feature, so when you need it, is it going to work? We do want to figure that out, maybe under certain conditions for sure. So, hey, Jason, really appreciate you coming in. Again, Lab 1, they're in downtown Phoenix. And, for everyone listening, whether you're a consumer, regular consumer, or an auto shop, man, you utilize these guys. It's a great service they do. It's really made a difference for my business for sure. And, Matt, anything else? You went to Cars and Coffee this morning.
I went to Cars and Coffee this morning. There was, first Saturday of every month, if you like cars, new cars, old cars, cool cars, really bitchin' cars, you want to go up to Cars and Coffee over off of Mayo and Scottsdale Road by Dick's Sporting Goods.
He actually came in bumper-to-bumper uniform today, and I was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
What's that? Cars and Coffee. All right. So anyhow, if you're looking for a friendly, honest, competent shop, Bumper to Bumper Radio. We'll see you next week.